All right, let's talk about Rev. So Rev actually got some, dude, you know, it's such a shame that the changes to banners and the changes to like some other classes were kind of shit because, dude, the Rev changes are actually pretty cool. So Legendary Centaur stance, and this is actually quite impactful, I believe in, or they're trying to make it better in World versus World and PvP as well. It's a bit, maybe a little bit scary in PvP, but let's go and have a look at some of these numbers so we can kind of talk about it pretty directly here. But the thing, basically, you instantly activate your tablet, which is actually really cool. So if we get our Ventari on here, boom, tablet is up. And look at this, guys. Look how fast we can move the tablet. Now, I think what they should maybe do is there should be a trait in Salvation that increases the radius. I feel like it's a little clumsy to use because it's not very big. Maybe 300 radius would be good. Right? Because I think right now it's still a little too small. But look at the speed, guys, of this. Look at that. Look at the tablet go. This is crazy. I love it. It's so cool. Look at it go. Yeah. And if you take the Salvation trait line now, you also give a bunch of boons as a baseline here on Serene Rejuvenation. And the boon access is pretty interesting, actually. You have Vigor, Regeneration, Swiftness, and Resistance, funny enough, as well. And bear in mind, you can actually use this Resistance quite a lot, because the tablet explodes, right? And you can just immediately resummon it. So you can actually use this very frequently. There's no, like, major cooldown, so you have a lot of Resistance on demand, which is actually pretty damn cool. Not a bad ability, right? And as you can see, okay, you can go ahead and go big condition, right? You get an extra 1 Condi, right? An extra 1 Condi, guys? Wow. Isn't that insane? Isn't that just the craziest thing ever? Wow. Absolute madness there, my friends. You absolutely love to see that, right? Yeah, it is very expensive, and it also doesn't have a stun break, which certainly limits it a little bit in PvP, right? Because, you know, not having a stun break on your kit, pretty big disadvantage right there. But still, you actually, you know, apply a bunch of boons now as well when you use these skills, right? The thing is, I do have to critique the implementation here a little bit on Serene Rejuvenation. It's super weird the way it works. You kind of have to do some really weird stuff, right? To use. You have to, like, spam certain abilities to apply prot. On Herald, it's less of an issue because you have a lot of boon access on Herald, just right off the bat. But in general, it's a little bit unusual there as well with the way it operates. So I think they could maybe slightly modify the way this works. Maybe even look at staff. Maybe make some of the staff abilities do this and make those abilities better instead of just the Ventari ones, or maybe do both or do a little bit of a mixture, because it does feel a little bit weird. I think they have created a bit of a nightmare with some of these traits here that give you, like, endurance back whenever you remove a Condi. Pretty disturbing, kind of like aimed at Vindicator, I think that's so you can spam your dodges. But sadly enough, this actually really screws over Support Vindicator, because one of the reasons why Support Vindicator worked was that you got Alacrity from taking Salvation, but that's now been removed. You don't get Alacrity from Salvation anymore. So now Support Vindicator, it's kind of a little bit dead. I mean, it's obviously playable, right? But it dies a bit of a death because you don't have Alacrity anymore. And, you know, you kind of already had some of these other boons, and you have healing there as well. So it's very awkward. You just have, like, boon duration, prot, might, and vigor at this point, right? And not having that key boon really makes it hard to fit into your group unless you're running, like, a really weird composition. I think in general, the Salvation trait line is a bit scary in PvP. It already was. It was, like, very degenerate. I think anything that fucks around with endurance is a bit spooky, particularly when you have, like, a profession that has a elite spec that has, like, a dodge-oriented specialization with Vindicator, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about all of this stuff. I think there's some potential here for sure, especially in PvP and World versus World, actually, right? Like, I think that, in a way, a lot of these changes are actually aimed more at PvP and World versus World than they are in PvE. Like, giving it way more Condi cleanse, right? You know, it's, yeah. So, and I do quite like this, actually, right? So basically, you empower your tablet every time you use Ventari's Will. This actually isn't super well telegraphed in the game, to be honest, I guess, but it is pretty cool, right? You know, you just got to kind of spam this around, right? And boom, you get even more abilities, right? Actually, it doesn't really explain that very well, does it? Okay. But oh well. Yeah, it is a slightly unusual mechanic here as well. Yeah, this occurs when entering legend or when using Project Tranquility. Wait, is it only the first one? Oh yeah. Wait, what? Wait, what is going on here, actually? This is a very, very unusual thing. This is very unclear how this works in the game. But it looks like it's only when you summon it or when you swap into Centaur stance. And that empowers it. So there's a lot more going on here, actually. Only the first one. Man. I guess that's pretty interesting, I guess. It's kind of like an interesting mechanic, I guess. But, I don't know. That's a little weird. Slightly unusual mechanic there. I guess. Yeah, you gotta break it and then resummon it, right? Yeah, you'd have to break it and then resummon it and then use the skill, and then it will have this bonus effect, like the endurance and the healing gain. I guess it's trying to keep it a little bit balanced, and that is honestly very skillful, right? Like, deciding what skill you want to use. That's pretty cool, I guess, if you want to do that. And I guess it prevents that weird situation where you're kind of spamming stuff there as well. So, pretty cool interaction there, I guess. But yeah, that's something, right? Yeah, I mean, the CC here, like a 3-second knockdown, 4-second knockdown when it's empowered. Holy shit. That's pretty disgusting. Very fun to play against, I imagine, there as well. But yeah, I actually like these changes here. I don't think that support rev, I mean, Ventari, like, heal Herald is going to be good in PvE now. Maybe not quite Firebrand level, but definitely there. Herald really struggles in PvE because you kind of want Chalice for stability and Ventari and Glint. You can't take all three, which is where you get punished for your lack of flexibility. But honestly, Heal Herald is not a bad build now that you have quickness uptime as well. But yeah, I don't mind it. I honestly do not mind this whatsoever. I think with a few more patches, this could actually become a really, really cool build. Shame about Support Vindicator. Had to die for the sake of not being able to give quickness and alacrity at the same time. That's not too bad there. But there it is, I guess, gamers. They rejiggled the traits around a little bit, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't like... Some of them are kind of... you know... I mean, again, this is honestly a pretty solid change, by the way. Like, this trait here, something like World vs. World, very tasty, actually. If you're in World vs. World, you're spamming Cleanse with your Purifying Essence. That means you're just going to be spamming Prot constantly on people, right, with this ability, which is actually pretty sick, right? Like, doing that all the time. And you actually cleanse a lot, right? 3 Condis every few seconds, and you're going to be applying Prot during all of that. Hey, that's not too bad, right? And you can also combo that to give people dodge rolls back. There's a bit of a theme here to give dodge rolls back, which is obviously a really strong thing to do in World vs. World, so you can evade more often. And this means that when you... And obviously, you're going to always remove a shit ton of Condis, because there's a million Condis in World vs. World. So if you keep spamming like that, definitely some potential there. And honestly, anything that would maybe make builds like this playable in World vs. World, I'm in favor of, because in general, the World vs. World meta has been very, very stagnant for a long time. So seeing stuff like this actually get buffed pretty damn hard is pretty interesting. So some kind of Heal Herald build, even a Heal Vindicator build, right? Yeah, you have the Cleanse on Dodge trait here as well, I believe. Where is it? Yeah, here it is, Eluding Nullification, right? So you cleanse a Condi there. I think this kind of stuff is actually really, really cool. It burst heals pretty well, which is obviously good for World vs. World. You kind of do want some sustained healing, but obviously you don't want it to be able to do sustained and burst at the same time. That would be a little bit... You can't do everything, right? You've got to have some things, right? But yeah, I like it. I like it. It's exciting. You know, this is an exciting change. It was very unexpected, and again, sadly got really overshadowed by some of the things that people hated about the balance patch, but I actually think the Ventari changes here to Revenant are actually very, very cool. And the Herald changes... Okay, look, I know that everyone memed the Herald changes here, because they were really bad, they were really weak and undertuned. But this build is actually now pretty cool, right? This Draconic Echo, because it got buffed up here to 2 seconds, hotfix to 2 seconds instead of 1.5. I'd go further. I'd still make it 2.5, I think. Go a little bit further than that. But actually, not bad. I saw a guy called Lederhosen, a friend of mine, play this build on the new challenge mode, and damn! It looked really good. Now, he's an excellent Revenant player, so he knows what he's doing and he can get the value out of the build. But damn, it looked really good. He was doing like perma swiftness, perma protection, perma quickness, perma fury, all this kind of really cool stuff, all bundled into one build. And he was doing good damage, and he had stability uptime because he was playing Chalice, and he was actually out DPSing Firebrands, actually, or staying relatively competitive with Firebrand. Now, obviously, losing Assassin's Presence sucks for any kind of support rev or DPS rev build, actually, but with a little bit of a damage buff, I think it could be really, really cool. This build can end up being very strong, actually. My only critique is that the way it applies quickness is very unfun, I think. You just, like, spam all your abilities off cooldown. You don't get to use your abilities intelligently. I think it would be good if you could at least use your heal skill and multiple other facets well to apply quickness instead of having to, like, mash everything off cooldown. I don't think that's good design. I think it's really unfun. A lot of builds suffer from this, actually, and this is honestly a video for another topic, actually. Some classes have to use their entire skill bar to apply a boon, others don't. For example, Mechanist doesn't actually use any utility skills to apply Alacrity. All of its utility skills are basically free. All of it comes from traits and weapons, right? Like auto-attacking to give Alacrity with mace auto-attacks, right? Quickness on Firebrand, you just take one ability, you take two abilities, right? Essentially. You take your quickness mantra, your elite skill, and I guess technically your heal mantra, but you're always taking that because that ability is insane. And then two traits. Two traits right now. And you have free utility bar, right? And free weapon bar as well. That's a really big advantage. And I think ArenaNet need to be super careful with the way they implement this, because that type of design inequality can actually be in a lot of ways more toxic than boon inequality or even balance inequality, because being able to use your skills intelligently is actually really powerful. But actually, this is fucking juicy. Like, I think this build is actually flat out good. Like Jalis Glint, Power Boon Herald, that is a good build. Buff its damage a little bit, buff DPS Herald significantly, I'd say. I'd make Forceful Persistence even better. I'd go nuts, right, on this and make it even stronger. Maybe even make some of the traits in Devastation a bit better, so you just do even more damage on, like, the Power Herald build or something cool like that, or maybe even buff Vindicator a bit too, because why the hell not? Or just, you know, in general, just make Herald a bit stronger. But, yeah, very cool, actually. I think this is going to make a lot of people happy. Like, if you're a Herald fan in PvE, I would play this. You know, I made a Boon Herald. I was really sad about Boon Rev getting nerfed with EOD. But honestly, yeah, this is definitely going in the right direction. A few more changes, and maybe even a few minor changes. I think Boon Herald is going to be a very fucking good option, right, for this. Because it just has a really nice suite of boons. And, of course, great CC, great utility, very durable with all the lifesteal that you get. Yeah, this is really good. Very nice changes here. Very powerful indeed. They nerfed Vindicator down in PvP as well. This was good because it was kind of degen. It was like some very dodge spammy, block spammy, bunkery garbage, right? Not that much fun. I'm never going to be a fan of Vindicator. I think that things that mess around with dodge mechanics are in general a little unhealthy in the game. Like just stuff like Mirage, right? It's just like, ooh, it's really hard to make it balance and not really, really annoying, but it is what it is, right? We have Vindicator. We can't get rid of it now. And, well, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is, my friends. Let's go ahead and move on to Thief. Now, a lot of these changes, these changes are kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. It seems like they just changed Shadow Arts because they wanted to change Shadow Arts. Now, some of this stuff does have ramifications in PvP, but in my opinion, looking at this, it was very clear that they were actually targeting PvE, actually. They want to make support thief a thing in PvE, specifically heal thief, I'd say. But the problem is they made it so conditional and so gimmicky that I don't think it works. I guess they were maybe trying to make, ooh, support Spectre in a world versus world Zerg, but I mean, it's just so gimmicky, you know? I think it's too gimmicky. Like, all of these traits, basically, they give prot on stealth, they give barrier on stealth, this and that and that. That's just too niche, right? It's way too niche for this to work very well, in my opinion. I just don't see it. I like that you get more might. This is, like, I think the Alacrity Spectre is really cool. One of my favorite builds, actually, in PvE. And Thrill of the Crime, now you just get more might uptime. You get Might, Fury. This is a nice build. You give Alacrity, Might, Fury, and Swiftness on Alac Spectre, and even Vigor, too, if you take Bountiful Theft. Really fucking nice build, actually. I'd highly recommend everyone gives it a shot. Really enjoy it, to be fair, actually. Very, very cool stuff. So you just give free might on that, even more free might now as well, while you're giving your Alacrity. And also some other random boons from Well of Bounty as well. Really fun build to play, actually. But yeah, I kind of get what they want to do. I like it. I like the idea of Heal Spectre. I actually played it a little bit in the beta, and honestly, it was so much fun. Playing like the Resbot Spectre, it was so much fun to play, seriously. I wouldn't say it's good, But it is so cool, right? Like, just trying to zap people with the siphon and trying to revive people all the time, and you're still giving alacrity, but it's a little bit of a one-trick pony. It's a bit of a meme, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, right? And they also fixed the Consume Shadows reviving people bug. It doesn't do that anymore. So kind of like the really big cool thing that it did got removed from the game. So you only have the siphon res now. It's like, it's very questionable. Honestly, if they want to make support thief a thing, they just need to be boring. I hate to say it, guys. They need to stop doing all this shit, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, stealth and you give a boon, right? It's too niche, especially in PvE when you're often even revealed a lot of the time in some raid encounters. It's cool, but I think I hate to be the boring guy, but mechanically, is it really good? No, I think it's too weak mechanically, you know what I mean? Which is problematic, right? Like, they need to take a different approach here. And just add more support. Make more supportive traits that actually do something and interact with weapon skills and interact with utility skills. Interact with that. Like, look at some Spectre traits and make Spectre really supportive, right? Give Spectre more boon access if they want to make support Spectre a thing. Like, Thief has this... Thief definitely suffers from what I would refer to as no third trait line itis, okay? Because it doesn't have a good third trait line, really. You do Spectre, Trickery, and then you're like, Technically, it should always be Shadow Arts, but Shadow Arts honestly doesn't really do that much for you, right? You don't get boons. You don't really get that much more healing. You don't really do anything. Like, the trait line just kind of like, it ain't really there, to be honest, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, you could look at the stolen skills, right, and make some really crazy supportive interactions with stolen skills, or you could make some crazy stuff. I don't know what you could do, actually. Thief is definitely one of the professions that I think suffers from a very one-dimensional playstyle, right? Like, Spectre is really cool, but it's a lot to pack into one trait line, right? Like, it has to kind of counter years of not having any support whatsoever, and that's a little bit tough, you know? It's a little bit on the tough side to make that one work, but oh well, that's how it goes. But hey, Alacrity Spectre, still very good. DPS Spectre, still very good. Spectre in PvP, still very good. Thief in World versus World, it's good in small scale, right? So it's not like Thief is in a bad spot, right? It's still fun to play. It still does what it does really well. Spectre has a cool playstyle. It's just that I think the archetype that they're looking to go for, more of like a traditional Guild Wars 2 support here, I'm not seeing it, to be honest. I ain't seeing it, gamers. Oh boy, here we go. And now it's finally time. It's finally time to really talk about the people who got screwed by far the hardest. It is the Warrior Mains. The Warrior Mains, my friend. Okay, they have been memed. Okay, they have been memed in a way that is almost indescribable, okay? You've been memed very hard. And, to be honest, I think there's a lot of design problems here as well, right? Like, I hate to be the boring guy, but I do not think these changes are well designed at all, okay? I'm sorry, they aren't. The one saving grace is that Banner of Defense giving pulsing resistance. This is actually really fucking good in World versus World, actually, because obviously World versus World is all about mobility, right? Being able to be mobile is absolutely huge, and not being slowed down so you don't fall behind the Zerg is insane. So being able to do this, basically, is actually really nice. And just kind of, like, run around, like, pulsing those boons, all that kind of stuff is really nice with this Banner of Defense here. As you can see, I'm just pulsing these boons, like, when I'm just running around in circles like that. That's actually really good. But you may have noticed something that is absolute pure garbage. For some reason, ArenaNet decided that whenever you pick up a banner, instead of even giving you weapon skills, like having a little charge move or just being able to go faster, they were like, you know what? No. You get literally no weapon skills whatsoever. Okay, I'm actually going to be deliberately calm and not hyperbolic, but I'm going to make a comment here that is going to seem really harsh. I genuinely don't know how they thought this was okay to ship. Yeah. I'm sorry, I genuinely don't know how they thought this was okay. It is such bad design and so unfun that I don't even know what to say about this. It's terrible. I mean, again, I don't want to like just bash. I mean, I hope, I've said some nice things about the balance, but I think there were some good elements, but this is trash. And Warrior definitely needs its own video as well, but there's a lot of design problems that come up here as well. Like, so what they want to try and do is to create this kind of support warrior archetype, but the problem is that there's no support for this, right? Warrior doesn't have support trait lines. You have one support trait line, right? With tactics. And even worse, you're so screwed with how you want to play, because you might want to give boons, but oh wait, if you give quickness, well, I've got bad news for you. Now you can't shout heal. But wait, you can't shout heal anyway, because you have to take like 3 fucking banners to even give boons. Oh yeah, by the way, 1 stack of might every 3 seconds, by the way, on banner of strength. Jesus Christ. Bear in mind, guys, that they actually gave like 5 stacks of might on like abilities in your rotation for some classes. Oh, it's so underpowered. It's so bad. Oh, it's so trash. So unfortunate. Like, this build just totally falls apart because for design reasons. It's like, we can talk about the numbers here. We can talk about this. The numbers are too low. Why is it 1 second? So you have to have literally 100% uptime, 100% boon duration to get uptime on these boons. Why is it literally 100% needed? And you need doubled standards as well. You have to take, discipline is like mandatory. You're locked into 2 trait lines, one of which has literally 1 trait that's good for you, by the way. You only have 1 support weapon entirely with charge. That's the only support weapon you have. It's like, oh, yeah. It's just a fucking mess. I mean, again, in World versus World, you're definitely happy days here, because now you can do like really nice resistance uptime, barrier, Condi cleanse, right? Like you can give quickness too, all this kind of stuff. Look, support warrior in World versus World, kind of like this, the heal warrior. You can do resistance now as well and still take your shouts to stun break and heal, and do all this kind of cool stuff here, like shake it off. You can do that. You can ban it. You can war banner people as well in World vs. World to stomp them or revive allies, right? So you're good to go in World vs. World, but in PvE, which is kind of like where this is most impactful, because Warrior was so reliant on banners. I mean, jeez. Oh, man. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. War banner. Yeah, obviously you're going to take wins, right? Like, but I mean, I think there's like a legitimate decision where you could take banner in World vs. World 2, because wins obviously got nerfed, but yeah, you are probably still taking the skill. It's a pretty good skill. It's a pretty good skill. It is indeed. But yeah, like the warrior changes are the biggest mess here, like, to be honest. It really is. Like, there need to be a lot more changes down the line, right? A lot more changes down the line to really make this work, right? You know, it needs a lot more. It needs proper weapon support, which kind of needs a new elite spec. I don't even know where to start, right? You know, I don't even know where to start on this. Realistically, they should probably change an elite spec. Honestly, Warrior needs a new weapon so it can have like a full-fledged support build. It needs an elite spec to have traits reworked so they make more sense, right, in a support build. And to be honest, I think the entire idea of banners giving quickness, it's just like, ugh. It's just not good. It's baseline. So, by the way, they've accidentally created Catalyst again, because now you can play like a DPS Blade Sworn that does like 37k DPS, and you also give 30% quickness uptime or something like that. So, all of a sudden, now you can stack Blade Sworn, so they're going to have to deal with that, which they really hate. They don't like it when you stack DPS classes and give quickness. They hate that without any commitment to it. You're just using like a 60-second ability off cooldown here as well. It's just, is just not good whatsoever. Like, it's just so passive, so uninteractive. You can't even pick up your banners and have fun because you lose all of your weapon skills. You can't take all of the traits you want to take, right? No. I think a lot of the design decisions that Warrior has had, specifically regarding elite specializations, have really bitten it in the ass, right? It's like totally bitten it in the ass, in my opinion, because it's left with nowhere to go, right? It doesn't have weapon support. It doesn't have good trait support outside of, like, exactly tactics. I think you'd have to rework defense, right? Like, rework the defense. Well, I mean, hey, good opportunity, because these traits all have 300-second cooldowns in PvP, right? Rework defense, look at tactics again, maybe look at Spellbreaker and make it a bit supportive in some way or something like that, right? Just something, right? Like, it's just... It just doesn't have what it takes, to be honest, right? It really doesn't. Yeah, make Hammer somehow supporty, maybe. Support Hammer? Bash your allies back to health? Maybe give it AoE barrier on Hammer? Okay. That could be pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, this is just so sad for Warrior, right? But I actually want to note something here. Warrior was poorly designed in PvE. Because it was totally reliant on overpowered unique modifiers. You take away the overpowered unique modifiers and Warrior just evaporates, right? That isn't good design either. However, they should have had a better solution to this, to be clear, right? I don't think Warrior was healthy in that sense. You'd run exactly one, and DPS Warrior was kind of like, you know, it was like a niche pick for high-level play, actually, funnily enough. It's still good, by the way. Like, DPS Bladesworn is great. DPS Berserker is also great. But it's like, that's not good enough for normal play, right? You want some utility. You want something that you've got here. And a lot of the stuff that they've added here is just very, very unattuned, in my opinion. Very, very unattuned. Just across the board. And also, they've done some weird shit with Bladesworn as well. Now they want you to use this Dragon Spike mine to do more damage, for some reason, on your utility bar, which I actually don't think is good, right? They're making it so that if you want to do DPS Bladesworn, great. I guess it's because they're trying to force you to, if you want to give quickness, you take banners. If you want to do damage, you have to take the mine and not take a banner. I think that's the intention here. But like, oh man. Yeah, it's like, oh, dude. Ooh. It's unfortunate stuff, guys. It's very unfortunate stuff. You kind of hate to see this. And obviously the arms trait as well. Like, they haven't fixed the arms trait yet, by the way. They didn't fix it. Like, you still don't have your crit chance back on Bladesworn or Warrior, because you have to take arms, which you're not doing. So they haven't fixed it yet. They are going to fix it, to be clear, because they actually have said they're going to fix that, but... I mean, yeah, you have to roll backwards to use your skills. Like, ugh, why is it like that? It means you can't take, like, a cool utility skill. To be honest, I think this needs to be completely redone, right? I'm just going to wrap it up here on Warrior and just flat out say that this needs to be redone. I really don't say this lightly, guys. I wouldn't say this normally. I genuinely don't. And I don't mean to disrespect the devs here, but this has to be redone from the ground up. Quickness should be redone from the ground up. I think all of these changes, it's back to the drawing board. I don't think I can really say there's anything redeeming about these changes. I hate to say that. I'm really sorry, but I can't. This is back to the drawing board, in my opinion. It really is. It's just not well done. And I'm just repeating myself at this point, right? There's so many issues with it, right? The banners are undertuned and kind of lame. There's no trait support, no weapon support, right? No elite spec support either, right? And when I say support, I mean, like, support as in the context of it makes the build work, right? It makes the build operate, right? It just doesn't, the build just does not operate really super effectively. And when it does operate with, like, the Bladesworn stacking, it operates in a way that ArenaNet hates, in a way that they consider unhealthy. Need to rework some traits, add a few more support traits, make the banners a little bit better, make it so you can, like, pick up the banner and you still have your weapon skills. You kind of, like, you carry it around on your back and you've still got your weapons out. That would be kind of cool. That's a little bit Viking, you know, like Berserker. And you can carry around, like, a war banner on your back. That's pretty cool. That would be a pretty interesting thing you could do. And you could, like, the way I envision it, and this is actually the way I initially thought it was going to work, is that you would do this, right? So you drop your banner down, right? And you'd be able to go over to it and pick it up and actually kind of have it on your back, and you still have all of your weapons, but now you're mobile, and you can drop it down again, right? And you can drop it down again if you want to go and pick on it. You'd like reactivate the skill. It would like have a flip skill, so you could drop it down again, or just like, you know, just drop it where you are, or just do this to drop it or whatever. But yeah, this is... I don't necessarily mind martial cadence, by the way. I think this is fine. Giving quickness whenever you use a burst skill. I think that's actually pretty cool. I don't mind that. But the problem is that this isn't a build, right? Like, it's like a teeny tiny thing. Right, I guess you can do quickness on maybe a berserker build, but I feel like your damage, it's not going to be good, okay? It's very, very questionable. Make it more effective while dropped, or there's no point in dropping it. Well, the point in dropping is that you want to go pick up another one, right, to move it. But yeah, you'd probably have to make it. You'd have to make it like less powerful while it's moving, right? Otherwise, there's no point. But honestly, I don't know. Like, are banners good? I mean, are they really well designed? Yeah, the traits give me so you can do shout heal as well. But honestly, if you do that, it doesn't even help that much because you need so many banners to apply boons, right? Like, it doesn't actually make it that much better because even if you could take the shout heal trait, what are you doing with the shout heal trait? You kind of need to take this. You also don't have protection. You don't have protection application whatsoever. Unlucky, buddy. Oh no. I think what they need to do, they should add a heal banner for sure, so that the heal banner can get regen, and that means you can take like another banner can have protection or something like that. Oh man, like. Unlucky warrior mains. Warrior mains having a bad time right now, okay? Not having a good time whatsoever. You hate to see it. You really, really do as well. Oh, no, they actually did they actually bug fix Fire from it? Oh, no! The stealth nerf to Deadeye as well. Unlucky. Basically, this trait was still 10 target. Hey, you know what's really funny, by the way, guys? People called me out for saying this was a bug, by the way. They said, Teapot, you idiot. That's how it works. It's not a bug. Unlucky. It was a bug. It was a cool bug for Deadeye, though. Now it's gone. But yeah, there it is. Unlucky. Unfortunate stuff. It's gone, right? You know, it's gone. Unlucky, buddy. Yeah, but Warrior needs some more work. Definitely needs a bit more work there to make it wholesome and good. Bam. That's actually all the changes. We've done the full analysis, right? The full analysis after the fact with the hotfixes. Actually, really looking forward. Well, I think we should be expecting the release notes for this and the commentary from the skills team on this. I believe it's coming this week. So stay tuned for that, everyone. Wow, exciting, right? I really hope they show a bit of contrition here because some of these changes are a little hard to defend. Mostly Warrior, though. But I think it is actually interesting to show some perspective here. I think the real reason why people were disappointed in this was because we were expecting more changes, and we didn't get that. I think they made some really boring design decisions with stuff like Assassin's Presence, Spotter, the Fury traits, that are kind of uninteresting with the way they work. They reduce skill cap with One Wolf Pack and so on, but there are actually some really good things to talk about here, right? Like, I think the stuff with Ventari is cool. I think the stuff with Herald is pretty cool, especially now that it got hotfixed and made it a little bit better. You know, it's not like the Druid stuff is pretty cool. Tempest stuff is pretty cool. Not quite there yet, but definitely on its way. So it's not like it's just totally impossible, right? But yeah, there you go. There you go. That is the balanced summary. Stay tuned for all of the other exciting details this week from the Guild Wars 2 skills team. Oh, yeah. But it does concern me a little bit with some of the design decisions they're making. That's like the thing that really bothers me here. What I don't like is some of the changes, in my opinion, aren't super well designed. I was expecting more major reworks, and I wasn't expecting poor design decisions, like just, oh yeah, 10% damage reduction, fuck you. Oh, what if we just made all these traits do the exact same thing in different professions? They just like randomly pulse boons passively. Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Why are we addressing quality of life on Mechanist, right, when we have like major balance issues with Mechanist and Firebrand, right? It's like, yeah. It's not the patch we wanted, okay? Not the patch we wanted. I think that is putting it mildly. It really, really is. But that is going to just about sum it up, okay? Thanks for watching, everyone, gamers. In fact, I'm done with the stream now and with this YouTube segment thing. So stay tuned for that a little bit later. Okay, go leave a comment, guys. What do you think about it? What do you think about it panned out? I think it could have been a lot worse, to be fair. I think there were actually some new builds that popped up, some new content, some new gaming, some new memes. But yeah, DeBarras take the medal for the worst skills in any class. It's definitely got to be up there, right? It's it's well up there with being very, very bad. But maybe not like the worst, but it's pretty not good. It's pretty not good. But we live and we learn, guys. ArenaNet have responded to this pretty well, I think. They're looking to fix these issues in August, so let's see what they come up with there. But I'm going to go in with some measured expectations, let's say, okay? Very measured expectations indeed. Okay, because in this one, the winners certainly do not outweigh the losers. That's it. Follow, subscribe, come back and watch every single day. That's basically it. Those are my thoughts on the balance patch. Honestly, not quite as bad as I thought. Unless you play Warrior, then it's actually just as bad as I thought. If it was worse than I thought, unlucky. But that's it. Boom. Done.